Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Own the Moment podcast. My name is TJ Lasig, and I am your host here at OTM. And today we have a fantastic show for you with a very special guest that I personally am super excited about. We will get to him in just a moment. But first, go ahead, follow us on Twitter at Own the Moment NFT, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that like button. Leave a review if you like the content we've been bringing to you so far. It helps us out a lot, and we certainly do appreciate your support. With that said, first and foremost, I will go ahead and introduce my co-host. This is a man who, like me, struck out last night when it comes to the Series 2 Release 11 packs. But hey, what are you going to do? Justin, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing as well as we can. Gosh, that was a late evening to a bitter ending to a fantastic morning because I'm excited for this pod.
Yeah, hey, tough draw for us, but we have more important things to get to here because I would now like to introduce our very special guest. This is a man who has been involved in NBA Top Shots since mid-early 2020. This is a man who has one of the most impressive accounts, impressive portfolios across the entire Top Shot website. A man who is a moderator in the Top Shot Discord, someone who is one of the OGs of NBA Top Shots and does not seem to sleep, is grinding 24/7, coming to you all the way from the land down under Australia. We have Mr. Wades_ETH. How's it going, Wades?
How are you guys? I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, hey, we're excited to have you. Been looking forward to this show all week. Thank you very much for giving us the time. And
guys. Appreciate it. I never the intros never get old, so I love the intros. What's going on? It's like it's so surreal, like it is. So, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, hey, everything I said is completely true and factual, so you can't even dispute the grandiose introduction. You definitely deserve it when it comes to this space.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, so let me set the stage here a little bit, and then we will kick it over to you, Wade. So what we're going to do on the podcast today is ask Wade's all of the things that the people are wanting. We want to hear about your background. We want to hear about the transition from the original days of NBA Top Shots to the explosion of growth that we've seen over the past 2 weeks. We've got some question from our friends on Twitter. We're going to get into the Cool Cats Challenge and the Master Cool Cat Challenge, get your perspective on that and play a little game of over-under with you and Justin. And then to wrap things up at the end, we'll be revealing the winner of your very generous giveaway, the Luka Doncic Series 1 base three-pointer moment, mint number 3073. Last I checked, it was selling for a minimum price of $650. So thank you very much for that giveaway, Wades, and we will close the show out with that. All righty.
Sounds good.
We've done enough of the introductions. Let's get this started. First things first, Wades. I gotta ask the burning question that's on everyone's mind. Were you able to secure a base pack last night? Were you involved in this new process of trying to get on the wait list? What was your experience last night?
Yeah, so look, my experience was, like I said in the Twitter post, it was stress-free. I was at work, so I still do the 9 to 5, and I probably will for a long time. It was probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was keeping an eye on the mod chat room, the NBA Top Shot one, and just trying to help the team out where I could. And noticed that they came online. So I basically just went and did the click here and joined the line, and luckily I ended up in about the 5,000 mark in line. And that's all I did, to be honest. I just waited for about half an hour, just checked in every now and then. I did try to test it out. I went back and forth and refreshed the screen, and it didn't seem to, put me in and out of the lineup or line. So, yeah, it worked pretty well for me personally. I know a couple of Twitter followers responded saying, it was good for you, but we didn't get anything. So it's a start. It's not perfect. Obviously, we saw the distribution of the moments in the ecosystem, and there were some that we can't explain yet, or I'm sure the team can explain it. It's just that they'll need to go back to the drawing board to an extent to figure out how some got, more than 5 or 6.
Or 80.
But yeah, all in all, it was pretty, or 80. All in all, it was pretty good for me. So I did snag one pack. I went back in line to get another one, but by then I was in the 42,000 and simply just timed out. I got my pool were I can log in and tell you guys what it was, but Taco 4 was one of them, so that was pretty good.
Nice.
That was a low 1,000 and something mint. The other two weren't notable. John Collins 14,798 and Lonzo Ball 12,711. So, but pretty happy with that. I was actually just happy to get a pack, like most people.
Yeah, great. Hey, we'll see. We are nearing the trade deadline. We've heard some rumors about Lonzo might be making a move. So fingers crossed that'll increase in value with his new destination.
Okay. Well, where's he supposed to go? What's the rumors?
Not really. I mean, so just seems like it's going to be a good fit to get him out of there. So we can find a new system. Don't know if there's anything concrete on where it's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see him as one of those kind of trade deadline moves.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So to give you the overview, we had myself, TJ, our producer, Coop, all in line. And I think we were numbers 24,000, 28,000, and 30-something. And I thought at my 24,000, I'd at least get it because, 25,000, we're in a line. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. But I love the idea of it. I think if they can, get rid of it. Granted, that's kind of the theme of tech with Top Shot is I love the idea of everything with Top Shot, but then the tech just doesn't seem to, seem to be some hiccups. And so I think this is another one where, hey, that's going to work great when we get to those rare and legendary packs. Obviously, it saves people long-term from having to just sit at their computer and hit that F5 nonstop. But obviously, you got to figure out, we can't be having people, whether it was the bots getting the significant amounts or even just, I think it was about half of them went to someone who already had one. So that's an issue.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's obviously still in beta. How long it's in beta, you can see the issues we're having. Also withdrawals, I think that's going to be sped up. So yeah, still a few things I think to tick off before it gets out of open beta.
Agreed. TJ, I know how much you enjoyed that transparency report, their long one yesterday. Yeah. And that was very helpful.
Definitely. Love their blog post. I just, again, appreciate them being transparent about the issues that are going on. Like Wade said, we're just in beta mode here. So let's continue to be patient. I do think that they will find some way to make this right for people that feel wronged by the fact that they did not get a pack while others got multiple. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that, and I'm sure they'll be coming out with more information for us.
Sorry to cut you off. Just to add to it while I think of it, we've had a couple of people say, "Oh, what's in beta? How long? It's been in beta for 7 months." What people have got to realize is that we've been in beta for 6 months to maybe a couple thousand members. So nothing's really been tested until 3-4 weeks ago. So that's when the spike occurred. Now everything's breaking under that stress. So it's almost like beta 2.0. We're starting from scratch. So we just need a bit more patience, and I think the team will eventually solve it. They're just got to catch up a little bit. So
yeah, I think that's one of my questions for you is could you just talk a little bit about how you got into NBA Top Shot and what the early days were like and how different it's become over the past 2 weeks. And I think one of the things that I'm personally curious to hear about as well is since we've gotten started, we have not seen a rare or legendary pack drop happen. So if you could talk specifically about what those have been like in the past and how you view those in the future, because we're seeing rumors that maybe a legendary pack drop, they're trying to get one in the works. So would love to hear your perspective on all of that.
Yeah. So I'll start from the beginning. I got into this NFT space. I just thought, man, this playing video games a long time ago for a long time. Thought, there must be a better way in terms of these skins and everything. You sort of, you accumulate over time. And specifically, I played a bit of Apex and had that thought, and had a quick look around Google and landed in this NFT space, and then that intrigued me, as it probably does most people. And did a bit more digging around, and landed in a game called Gods Unchained, which is essentially a card game. You play 1 versus 1. It's this play-to-earn economy where, you grind, you win, you get points, and then eventually you win cards, which are on the Ethereum blockchain. And then, that's how you play to earn. You can sell those for ETH and so forth. So I was in that space for a little while. In the meantime, the NBA Top Shot released this, just a couple of emails about this particular product, or Dapper Labs, I should say, about the NBA Top Shot, which I signed up to, which eventually, got invited to the beta. Katie, who works with NBA Top Shot, I spoke to her in the early days, just sort of laid out my story, where I come from. I've got a background in finance. I've got a background, obviously, now in the NFT space. I did sort of participate in the other project I mentioned, Gods Unchained, just, as a player and a bit of feedback and so forth. And also with their pack drops and how it all went. So, and then obviously the NBA. So that's what I came into the Discord, laid it out to them, and they accepted me into the beta a long time ago. So that would have been somewhere around early 2000. Eventually they opened up the NBA Top Shot Discord to closed beta. It would have been about June, I'd say, early June. And it would have been about 70 of us in early June. So that was what we referred to as actually alpha, not beta. So that was the early team. And look, that would have been, in my opinion anyway, the sort of the who's who of the NFT landscape. Fairly deep pockets. So I wasn't one of those guys. I sort of came with the background, the expertise in the NBA sort of thing. So that's what I brought to the table, and just shared my opinion and shared a couple of things with the guys there, and we got to know each other. So, being a very closed Discord, 70 people, you get to know the guys, So Ryan was in there, Katie, Alan, and all the guys from Dapper. We were in there day in and day out, just stress testing everything we could, the pack drops. Again, very, very small team. You can imagine the difference now between that and this is night and day. Like, I could message half the Dapper team and I wouldn't get a response for a week, not because they don't want to respond, because they've got more important things to do. Whereas before we'd trade together. Like Ryan and I've traded many times, and I probably ended up on the worst side of that in hindsight, but that's why he's the CEO. So look, it was an interesting time. So in terms of the pack drops and legendaries, the first one was Cosmic from memory. And that sat around for a while, even though there was, a lot of deep pockets in that early alpha team. And you can see the accounts now, like Whale Shark, the creator of the Whale currency. Their portfolio sits in that Whale vault. It's worth about 25 million. So, and he dropped a couple 100,000. There was a lot of other users that did the same. So, and even having said that, we still couldn't sell out of the Cosmic pack probably for a good week, I'd say. That was $230 a pack, which had one Cosmic, I think 3 metallic golds and about 6 base moments. So that was interesting. Obviously in hindsight, you wish you could go back in time and buy up everything you could, but it certainly was an interesting space. So, so fast forward to sort of July, August period, that's when we opened it up to a few more waves of members in the Discord. And they're the yellow roles you guys see now in Discord. That's the early access guys and girls. So we added 20 to 30 at a time, and then obviously it opened up to then closed beta and then open beta eventually is, what you guys see it as now, open beta. In terms of how the pack drops sort of matured over time, it progressively got harder and harder to, participate, especially the legendary ones. But having said that, you probably still could have got an entry in most of those. The rare ones you could have picked up pretty much what you could afford to buy. I know some guys have picked up well over 100 in each drop in the sort of the rare space. Commons, base packs sat around for weeks. Look, it just makes sense. There wasn't as many members in the Discord, so there wasn't a lot of people that had hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on these things, because we already spent all our money or most of it buying up the early stuff. So, is there anything else you guys want me to go through in more detail? I'm more than happy to talk about. Yeah, just let me know.
No,
Yeah,
you got one, Justin?
I was gonna say, yeah. So I mean, like you mentioned, obviously you've been around for a while. What is that kind of best value you got way back when that you're like, I'm glad I spent those $200, or I'm glad I traded, or I'm glad I bought this in the marketplace that now is kind of like a pinnacle to your portfolio?
That was selling LeBron Cosmic 12 ETH. That's probably what my best moment was, which sounds counterintuitive because, if you had one of those, it'd probably be worth like 50 grand to 100. Mine wasn't a very good number. It was like 31 or 35. But I sold that literally as soon as I pulled out of the pack. So I could afford to buy 2 Cosmic packs and a bunch of. So my initial investment was about $2,500, and I spent maybe a couple $100 on a credit card when some of the moments got retired, probably in August sometime. So early on, I got 2 packs and I completely lucked out, with the LeBron. Sold it immediately, and that held the record for quite a while. But I just did the math and thought, well, if I'm not going to put more money into this, and at that time, it's easy to go, well, it's pretty stupid to do, but it's what afforded me that leverage to be able to go back and buy more packs. And so that's how I've grown my portfolio, through the randomness and buying out the randomness, which basically means, if you could, probably the best example of that is the LeBron metallic gold drop, where he was the featured player. So by that, I mean, he was the most prominent, or one of the most prominent metallic golds in that particular drop. Can't remember which one it was, maybe drop 3. And, on average, you'd get about 1 in 10 packs of LeBron. So I ended up buying 19 or 20, and I got 3. So, again, that sounds pretty cool now because they traded so high, but back then it might have been a couple $100. So now that's how I've grown my portfolio, just through that and just buying up some of the cheap stuff, the base moments. So I don't play really much in that legendary space. I know a lot of guys do, but for me, it's a lot more fun in the base moments, metallic gold, stuff like that, because my budget wasn't massive, so that's how I could afford to play the game and use my NBA knowledge and trading and all that to leverage. So at the peak, the floor value of my portfolio was about 1.6 million, and so to grow from that, that's the only way I could do it, through selling high end stuff, and then leveraging it down into stuff that I thought that was value. So and it holds quite a lot of base moments under 100, and sort of special numbers that I think have long term value. So it's obviously dropped in value like everyone else's. I think it's dropped by about 30%. So, but yeah, we needed that pullback. That's a very healthy pullback. And in there, you guys can ask more questions. I feel like I'm just blathering on.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That pullback's very healthy, and I mean, great to see. We even saw it, I think, about 2 days ago. We've started getting the other turn back upward. So to see that, after the exuberance, the massive spike, only to get a 30% kind of correction, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
and then
it's very good.
You mentioned that, you didn't have the greatest LeBron. It was 30 something, 30 random. How do you think about those numbers, especially for, your more rare numbers? Like, do you believe, obviously we know the number one, the jerseys are extremely valuable, but outside of that, how do you kind of value when you're approaching in the marketplace?
Look, I obviously do value the lower mint numbers, as does the market. Yeah. So early on, it was interesting conversations, very in the alpha stages, where we thought, okay, well, how, and we did ask these questions. It's all on record in Discord. It's just most people can't access it because it's a closed group, but I can sort of pull some of these things out, and I will at some point in time. The chatter, we were literally talking like, how's the market going to, how's the NBA fan going to, appreciate or not appreciate these numbers, the serials. Because from where I came from in the cardboard land, it really, no one gives a shit. Like, you've got maybe the jersey, and then that's it. So that was my perspective, and the NFT guys, I was also one of them, but I had the other perspective, which the NFT community will be very small when this thing gets very big. So, who cares what the NFT guys think? It's the NBA that I care about. And they convinced me, or we convinced each other, that there would be value in lower mints, like artwork and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's how we rolled on from there. And, whether that carries through, if this thing, is 10 years old, I think it will, because it makes sense. We've talked about this before, where in the cardboard, you've got the PSA 9s and 10s. Obviously, we don't have that in NBA Top Shot. So is this, other lower mints our version of PSA 10? I think there's an argument there that they are. So, I do value them. For me, it's all about the liquidity, to be very frank. I buy lower mint stuff because, one, I can afford it now, and then two, when I do want to get rid of a set, you probably got to sell it quicker, being a set under mint 100 or under 500, because that's the target audience that I'm going after, which is the high-end investors for my own stuff, and where I can afford to. And it's really like, even if you look at season 2, I literally had to play around for 2 minutes just to prepare for this, and I usually don't prepare for anything. In season 2, I had about 35 moments missing to complete my set, and all I did was just scroll right to the top to sort of serials under 100, and you could get stuff for like $40-$50 on some of them. The play is not that great. Like I'll tell you what I picked up. I picked up Jordan Clarkson, number 88, which is very meaningful to me. I think I paid about $100 for it. And this is season 2, so you can still find stuff lying around. But for me, it's all about that, the liquidity. If I do decide to sell something, I can move it fairly quickly, because I think that will be attractive to investors.
When you say 88, I assume that's from the Chinese number 8 luck symbol. Is that why it's valuable, or is there something else?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I mean, I was born that year. I don't know if we just had a connection that you were trying to, but it works. 88s too.
I'm trying not to give away the secrets, but the cat's sort of out the bag a little bit. I've been collecting the 88, so I probably got close to, I don't know, maybe 80 to 90 from season 1 now. So the aim was to try and put the set together, but it's too difficult. It's too expensive.
You just need one holdout.
Well, that's it. So, I mean, the intent was never to put the set together in its entirety. Like that would literally be impossible, I think. The intent was to put a set together with 88 and the triple 8s, and, where I had to go, then just do an 8. But obviously that's the lean into the Chinese lucky numbers. So the cat's out of the bag. So I'm pretty much screwed now. I've like buried myself. This is done.
Hey, if you've got all of the 88s already, then you want the people to know how valuable those
I don't.
are, right?
That's the problem. I've got maybe a third of them, so I don't have all of them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things like that do or don't gain value over time. I liked hearing about how, it seems like you have maybe a little bit more of a relatable investment strategy than some of the other big time players, because you're not just dealing in the cosmic streets where you're the one out there making these 100K purchases. And it relates a little bit to a question that we got from one of our Twitter followers. Shout out to @AndrewMackins. And he was just asking for people with a lower bankroll, are there any specific moments that you may recommend targeting under 100 or under 50? Or if you don't want to shill specific players, just any general strategy for somebody that's maybe working with a smaller bankroll about how they can target some lower priced moments and then potentially flip those for a profit and kind of build their bankroll up the way that you did. Obviously, it's a different market now. So curious how you feel about the lower stakes with the price point to entry being a little bit higher these days.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's a couple of things you can do there. $100 is not a lot, to be honest. So it's really difficult to deal with $100. That's difficult. So you'd have to go where the liquidity is, and that liquidity right now is all the new money's coming into season 2. Everyone that comes into the space is seeing season 2 because that's what's being released. That's what's in packs. It's more affordable, and main key thing there is liquidity. So if you want to buy, you buy something, you've got to be able to flip it quickly. Season 1, it's more of an investor type of thing. So depending on what angle you come from, if you come with $100 and you just want to buy a couple of things and just sit on it because you want to experience, be part of history, as I call it, you're probably better off buying some stuff in season 1. There's not a lot there you can get for $100. It's dropped. So there's some entry level moments of guys most people never heard of. And that might double and triple in time. That's tough to sit and watch paint dry. So I'd probably venture into season 2. Look at guys that have a lower mint count. So I think the uppermost now is 15,000. So see if you can find something that maybe even capped, sort of 7.5. I don't know. Again, guys, I haven't looked at season 2 for a very long period of time at all, but try to find some of those cheaper moments where they potentially will be capped in the future, where their price should technically rise, and then flip as much as you can. It's no secret. If you believe in the platform, you will make a profit at some point in time, because the sheer amount of players that will come into the space will carry you up. So I don't think I'm a genius. It's just the way things have played out. It wasn't hard to make money. Now it's a bit harder. So now you'll sort of start to see people that can make money in this space sort of come to the top. Having said that, it's also, if you've got a decent bankroll or decent portfolio, it's a bit easier as well. So you can push things around quicker. But yeah, to answer your question, my weird answer is season 2, look for the cheaper moments. If it's under $100, ideally it'd be a couple grand. Then you can make some headway into some of your trades. You can also then touch, reach out to members in Discord, because they'll take you a little bit more seriously if you've got a couple grand to spend than $100. So $100 is really difficult to maneuver with. That's my opinion.
And I think you make sense. And I think that what I'm really hearing there is the liquidity angle is, if you're trying you need to find ones that are going to, buyers, sellers in the marketplace a bunch. And then as that movement goes, maybe then you're trying to use your basketball knowledge, use something that you can make a hypothesis on, and expect that, hey, there's going to be an increase in value. For example, we just had the All-Star game voting come out. Maybe you could have gotten ahead of the game there, find someone like a Christian Wood who maybe is going to be not rookie of the year, most improved player. He got some votes, underrated. And so that's maybe a short-term opportunity that has liquidity if you're going series 2, and use that to propel the long-term upward trajectory. Yeah,
that's 100% spot on. So for example, literally the only 2 moments that I've purchased early on in season 2, partly because I love the player, is John Wall. So that's something else. The other angle of that is it's his rookie moment, or first play, as it should be called soon enough. That will have some added value when he gets tagged as such. So, just look for some of those things that will add value. I think over time it'll naturally grow, but if you want to get there quicker, you've got to have an edge. You've got to do something extra. You've got to do your research, find that value where sort of no one's looking, I suppose.
I love hearing that, John Wall. I completely agree. I remember we were scooping him for $3, $4, $5 when people weren't really picking up on that. I think even on our live stream last night, we brought up John Wall. I think Gordon Hayward's another one in that same scenario, where the players that don't have that series 1 moment, so this becomes their rookie version. I think that's a strong move.
So I'm just looking at my John Walls, and honestly, guys, I only did it for maybe a couple of days. I went hard at the lower serials, so I've got 1, 2, 3. I got about 6 in the lower end, and I've got only about 10 or 12 in total. So I've got to go back and have they gone up at all? I think they're about $20 or something now.
Right. I mean, significantly up. They won 3-4x from when they were in that kind of low end range. I actually took the opposite, and I just went and said, hey, because this is a series 2 comp, because there's like 12,000, of these, I'm just going to buy as many of the bottom of the market and just raise that market myself, and then expect that eventually people are going to pick up on this. If not, when the first moment tag comes out, it'll get that bump. And so that's where I was grabbing.
That's exactly what I did, in season 1. I just bought everything for $1. it was unfortunate for me. I started a new job about 3 weeks ago and had to go to the office and work for a little while. So I remember telling myself, if I go to work today, it's going to cost me like six figures, because I would have just sat there and just bought up all those $1 moments. And fast forward 2 weeks from now, some of those are trading at like $100. So $50 to $100. It's just ridiculous what it's done over 3 weeks. But that $14, John Wall, that's very good value. So that, in my opinion, there's something there. The reason for that is you can see, I'm just looking at the listing now, 974 listings. So until that works its way through that supply, you're going to get probably even lower, potentially closer to $12 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's a couple of dollars difference. But the other thing I'll personally do soon enough is just go through season 2 and then look at the listing size, and then try to look at guys like John Wall and those, and see where some of those outliers do lie, because there's just so much supply there that sellers are jumping over each other just trying to sell it for $13, $12, which is just ridiculous. Each their own, but for me, I wouldn't sell that for under $100. I think it's got a lot of room to go. So, but yeah, for me, we'll be looking at those listing sizes. So, something approaching to 1,000 listings is ridiculous. So you should be able to get a lot of value out of that as a buyer.
And I think you've got to take into account that people have different goals and, what they're trying to get out of the platform. And so last night, after we had those packs release, you just saw moments flooding the market at their cheapest and even dropping that down by $1 or $2, just because people who are getting the packs, they maybe they just wanted those top end cards. Maybe they don't want their kind of, Brandon Clark and Jackson Hayes and stuff in it. Those are two of the guys that I was like, hey, these shouldn't be going for $2, $3, but people open it. They don't really know anything about that person, and they just throw it in the marketplace for what the cheapest is and drop it by $1, and that just keeps happening. And so I think that's a strong, hey, if you've got the $100 bankroll, wait till there are pack moments, when there are pack releases, and just sit at that marketplace, because that is where there is value hitting at those really cheap end.
Yeah, spot on.
Agreed with that as well, right? It's a lot easier to scoop up a bunch of $3 and $4 moments and try to flip those for $6 or $7, as opposed to grinding something from $25 to $30. So I like what you guys both said there, and I also like that strategy for the lower bankroll folks to pick one cheap price moment that you feel good about, and buying multiple of them, similar to what Justin talked about there with the John Wall, identifying that opportunity and then kind of making that small investment, but double, triple, quadrupling down on it, and then trying to flip those guys. I think that's a good play for someone that only has $100 or so to float around. I did want to ask one question, and I think, Justin, you had this question too. Wade, you mentioned briefly the concept of the new tags that may be coming and that first moment tag. And we were wondering if you could give us any extra insight into how do we know, how can we identify which of these moments are going to get that first tag moment? I think Justin had some specific cases where it was like maybe there are some moments that were minted before they were released. We're just, Justin.
So what we saw was that a few of the people had moments that were minted, and I think it was May 2019, but then the actual highlight wasn't until after that date. So it's almost like they minted it, then added the highlight. And I'm just trying to get an idea. So I'll use Crypto Slam to tell me hey, what I think is that first moment, but
there's an easier way. So the reason why I started my YouTube channel was not because I wanted to be famous. Quite the opposite. I just wanted to set some facts straight, because there was a lot of misinformation out there in terms of, this is going back, I think, 4 weeks when I put out a couple of videos just to give the guys some tools and all that sort of stuff. So there's a particular tool, if you guys, I don't know if you can do it on the podcast now, but it's I think it's topshotexplorer.com is the URL. So I'll just see if I can bring it up. So yeah, it's topshotexplorer.com is the URL.
TJ, do you want to share your screen and walk through this?
Yes, I can do that.
I would if I wasn't trying to
this
make
is
a very big purchase right now.
Oh yeah, the Top Shot Explorer, right?
Oh, look, I can talk through it if you guys can't bring it up, but
No, we can get it. It's because it's a great site. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Perfect. So I was looking at my own screen. Okay, so if you go to set 0 at the top, so I'll just give you, so go to base set 0. So lock means it's locked. Okay, so if we go to who's got multiple moments, so Trae Young's probably the one that comes up a bit for me. So if you just type in, see it's a search record, yeah, just type in Trae or Young. Okay, so the first moment minted here is the lower one, sorry, the higher one. So if you sort the play ID from top to bottom, yep. So you can see the first moment minted on the blockchain or in this set is that number 1. So that's how you can tell which is the first one. So that's his handles, and it's got. So if you go to the marketplace, you're just going to find that particular one. It's the one to 2978. Or if you want to just search another one, if you search, I don't know, just think of the player that we just need multiples of.
You can go with LeBron.
I was about to say there's got to be more than one LeBron.
LeBron's one of the harder ones, guys, because he has. If you go to search ID, play ID, yeah, that's sorted. Yep. So you'll notice he's got 2 that are both the same in terms of the play type. The play type is the same and the mint size is the same. So it's a bit hard to tell which one's which. So there's only a couple of moments in the entire base 1 which are hard to tell for someone new to the space because they're exactly the same play type and mint number. So
let's try Kawhi because I know that was one I was looking at.
For the guys that want to know, it's the dunk on the Kings, the entire team.
Okay,
that was the first play. So Kawhi, you can see then the 88, quite evident. It's minted to 1256. So that's the first play.
Okay, and I think for the most part, the marketplace is already baking this in. So if you do
Correct.
see 2 Series 1 moments with the prices, you can assume that it's likely going to be the more expensive one. I've also seen there's usually a correlation where the first moment is lower mint as well, which was probably just when they were creating it. They were basing off the demand, and there was just a little less demand. But some things to at least keep in mind when you're trying to find out what you think that first moment tag is going to be.
Yeah, and look, there are some that are actually inverse. So, like Trae Young you saw before what his moment was. It was the high minted one. In my opinion, it should be priced higher, but it's not. I don't believe it is priced high. It used to be priced quite low considering what it is compared to his other second moment, which is minted to 1500. So most people obviously still don't know about this, and they'll just see the lower mint and go, okay, well, that should be worth a lot more. And for the most part, that's been the case. I'm arguing the opposite, because you're only ever going to have just one of those, rookie moment, so to speak, or first place for a particular player. So I think it's quite valuable.
Yeah, TJ knows that's been kind of the basis around my thesis. Was just trying to find that forced scarcity, the scarcity that can't be ruined by just continuing to make moments over and over. And you're always only going to have, either one rookie season, one first moment, so forth.
Yeah, I believe it's ultra rare, but what would I know?
Agreed with that. That was super helpful. I did not know that we could look at things that way, to be honest. And that's one of the cool things about this space. I feel like every day I learn something different about how to use some of these external tools, whether it's the Top Shot Explorer or how to look at the data on CryptoSlam or new features within the intangible dot market. So for those folks out there that are not familiar with these tools, we'll try to bring you some more content explaining how some of these works, and I'll continue making those instructional videos because I think it's critical to understanding what's truly going on, right? And one of the things that is always interesting to me, Wades, is that the denominator that we see for an LE is not necessarily how many are actually in circulation, right? So a Series 1 moment could say that there were 1,000 minted, but my understanding is that it's possible that, hey, maybe there's only actually 800 in circulation and 200 of them have been, I think I've heard it referred to as burned. And basically those 200 are never going to be entering the marketplace. So one of the things that we've been trying to look at is how to identify those cases where there's a moment that is actually fewer in supply than it appears based on the denominator of that moment.
Yeah. So the only ones that have been burnt are the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, I believe. It's a set that it's a pack that I didn't buy myself, but the team put out, I think it was to 750, and that was quite early on. So it was way too much for the marketplace at that point in time. So the idea was to burn those inserts. So not the actual base moments that came in those packs, just the inserts themselves. So that's the only set that's been, I don't know if they've concluded they're going to burn it, but that's the talk anyway. The other ones, there's a lot in season 1 that hasn't been released in circulation. So if you look at some of the LeBron moments, the way you can tell is if you want to, do you guys know how you can tell what's been released in circulation, or we're going to run through that quickly?
Yeah, go for the listeners. I know TJ gave a little introduction when we were looking into the legendary, the Hollow Series 2 that were just kind of minted, but I think it'd be helpful to get an OG.
Yep. So if you go to the marketplace and just search any of the season 1 moments, anything really, I think it'll.
Good top shot.
Sorry, if you actually search for Harry Giles, that's one that's my kryptonite type of thing. In Harry Giles. Sorry. I've got one, and Steve Veerman gifted me one of those because I choose not to buy one for $800.
He's a Dookie, which was my school's rival in college. So
yeah, but see, look at that. That's really not fair. It's $600 for that. So if you click on the moment itself, this is how the listeners can check what's in circulation and what isn't. It just messes with the marketplace. So the Dapper team will release these moments at some point in time, which is still, no one knows how that's going to be done. We have no news on that. We just know they'll be released. So if you scroll down a little bit for me and click on that 1000 edition size. Okay, so you see that where it says minted, that means it's sitting in Dapper accounts. So if you scroll down just a little while, you'll notice there's most of those are minted, which means they're held back.
And I think the question, though, becomes, because we've seen some news, sometimes they're going to actually find a way to release some of these ones that have been held from Series 1, and then some, as you mentioned, that conference finals are just going to get burned.
Yeah. So these will get released. Conference ones will get burnt, and that's the only one that will get destroyed, as far as I know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you could see that this one literally has, I think, about 700 odd moments that are held back. So in terms of the market, the scarcity, it's a false supply demand economy. So that's why I stay away from stuff like this.
Exactly. That's a great call out. So just to put that in terms for the people, right? The minted number here is 1,000. So the natural instinct is going to be, okay, I'm assuming that this market has 1,000 of these Harry Giles in circulation. However, that's not actually the case because, as we can see, a ton of them are being held by the Top Shot team and will eventually enter the marketplace. But that's obviously the current number in circulation is far less than 1,000. And like Wade says, as a result, we feel that jams up the price. Simple supply-demand calculation. That makes sense. Super helpful.
Yep. TJ, can I break in real quick? I think we have some breaking news.
Yeah, why don't you break in? You can share your screen.
We just made a purchase.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, baby. Wow. Live on stream. Love it. Well, I guess not live.
And I can attest to that. That just literally happened because you guys are talking about buying this before we went to air. So well done.
So a little context here, just to fill in the viewers. This Devin Booker Cosmic was purchased by someone with his name in Sociable Pond, and they got it for $180. I think 2 to 3 days ago. It was someone must have accidentally listed it, thinking it was the cool cat. They were putting it up for $180, even though that's significantly cheaper. And this person was right place, right time, and it was their second moment that they purchased. So just a fantastic situation for them. And then over the past 48 hours, We've actually got in contact with the person. It was a very unique way to get in contact with him. TJ changed his account name for a short period of time that says DM me at TJL5124. And then we gifted him a moment because that was the only way we could actually reach out to him. He did DM TJ. We went back and forth on price and stuff and kind of negotiations. And for whatever reason, we just weren't able to make something happen off screen, offline. So what we ended up seeing is he just would, that price fluctuate if anybody was watching it, from started at 22, went down to 13, went back up to 18. And then this morning, literally 3 minutes before we jumped on this pod, when Wade's was in the lobby and we were just kind of chatting, I get this, I see it and we're like, oh shit. Like, we knew that we had a price point and we were probably willing to go to about 12. We think this is probably worth at least, 18. We previously bought the Jokic one for 20,000. And so we think this is an amazing deal. And so we're ecstatic.
Love that. Good news on the pod. Maybe we'll do a quick show breaking that down further. Happy to have you along the ride for this one, Wades. All right.
Yeah, awesome.
We are 45 minutes in here, guys. I think that we definitely need to touch on a topic that is on the tip of everybody's tongue. Everyone's talking about the Cool Cats Challenge 1, the Master Cool Cats Challenge that was recently announced. In episode 3 of this podcast, Justin and I did a deep dive into everything about the Cool Cats Challenge and how we're approaching it from a strategic perspective. So, Wades, just wanted to get your high-level thoughts on what you think about the challenges in general and specifically this Cool Cats Challenge, because I think that it's a key inflection point in the market. Obviously, the Cool Cats Challenge is much more of an affordable price range when you compare it to like the metallic gold per se, but it's still on the upper range. We've been looking at some data tracking how many people own, 1 through 5 of the Cool Cats. So yeah, what do you think about the challenge and specifically this Master Challenge? Because I know that there was one previous one that Justin and I were not personally involved in, but you were around for those days.
Look, in challenges in particular have been great in the past because the entry to most of them was quite affordable. To give you some perspective, take you back in time, I'll just pick on probably my favorite because I spent quite a bit of time and not a lot of money on it, but the running back challenge for Kevin Durant. I completed multiple sets of that and it's paid off and then some. But at that time, you could have put it together for literally maybe, I'll be lying, about $600 maybe, thereabouts. It was a particular case there where the team stuffed up the drop with the running backs, where you open the pack and you literally had the same moment for, you might have pulled 5 Devin Bookers or 5 Tobias Harris. So the RNG was completely wrecked. So what they did was they gave us back, they let us keep the contents, and then they gave us back 50% of the purchase price. So what that meant was you could go back and buy on the next drop or the re-release, you could buy, another 50% more of the. So that allowed me to basically put together a couple of sets, and get a few nice KDs. So that was the third way I used to grow my account, just through challenges, because the lower mints, and you can see the price difference now between the metallic golds to 150 as opposed to the other one. It's far greater than the counterparts. So I encourage people, if they can afford to do it, but you're just going to watch, because the moments do run up quite significantly in price prior to the as the challenge is about to get rewarded, and they'll drop off as well after it's been. So you've got to do your numbers. I mean, my advice would be to chase the ones where the reward is quite significant. Like in this case, I believe it is significant enough. You might, if you do the numbers before and after, you might not make any profit out of it. What you're really chasing there is that alpha, which is hopefully you get a low mint. Because, right now, everything's expensive. Like these moments 3 months ago would have been going for anywhere between 10 and $20. Maybe Booker would have been 25. So for me to sit here and go, well, 345 is cheap. it's all relative, I suppose, but a lot of people, won't be able to afford all 5 of them. So, and now the Dapper team is also completely outlawed multiple accounts. So the days of having multiple sets and all that sort of stuff is behind us, I should say.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are like, how is it going to be sustainable? These challenge to complete it's over $1,000, and the average user just doesn't have that much that they're probably willing or able to commit to collectibles of moments. But the way that I kind of see it is we are still so early in this that yes, it's a higher price now because people understand that the Series 1, the Series 2 are going to be significantly more valuable than future series. If you look 2-3 years down the road when the general mass market's in this, those prices are probably going to be a lot more affordable, but they're still going to look back on those Series 1, Series 2 as like, wow, that was like the OG. That was like the original. I understand why those are so valuable. There's so few of them. They were so hard to get. You really had to be in this from the beginning. And so there's still a way to make this a mass market appeal and something that's financially, available to everyone, even though it doesn't mean that, just because you can't afford a legendary Series 1 or some of these more extreme ones, doesn't mean it's bad for the product.
And look, absolutely right, 100% spot on, Justin. And just to add to that as well, this is a very unique challenge because it's in 4 stages, I believe, which is we've only done that once before with the GOT game. And what happened there was you needed to keep all 5 moments, including the rewards. So in this case, Luka and the other 5, so 6 in total, through the stages to get the master reward. So we know now that's LaMelo Ball, Cool Cats, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be quite valuable. As you guys can see, the values of these things are not cheap. So my theory is that as you progress through the stages, more and more people will get left behind, which will make that end moment quite rare. So again, if you can afford to, do it. If you can't, just look to sell these entry level or the first, second round moments right toward the end, because I think they'll also grow in value or at least hold their value. So unless you need the money for something else, maybe look to dispose of these later down the track. The other thing that's thrown a bit of a wrench in the works for me is there's this other moment that the members of the Crypto Kitties. So I don't have any information about that. I've been told they'll be gifted these moments, which no one else can have. So unless they decide to sell them, we're pretty much screwed. So I don't know how that's going to play with the market dynamics. I hope they do, list them for sale. I don't know how many will be released, if there's going to be enough for the resale market or not. I honestly don't know. I have no information on this. I've just been told today by one of the friends of the community.
So what I can at least say from what I've seen from whether it was Al, I think it was actually Alan in Dapper Labs, is that he feels that this will not be the bottleneck. And so I think what he meant by that is there are going to be significantly more of these gifted out than we've seen of some of the others. So whether he's saying the 5,000, whether he's saying the however much we have of Luka at the end of the day, he's expecting that there will be enough in the market that'll be okay. And the truth is, let's say you ended up with 10,000 of these moments. Well, if it's not actually, so I believe it's going to be Karl Anthony Towns. I believe the KT there is kind of a play on word for the Crypto Kitty. And so if you consider a Karl Anthony Towns moment that's not aligned to anything, that's just a Series 2 out of, let's say, 7,500, 10,000, how much is that normally in the marketplace? I don't know, maybe $20. Now, obviously, with the challenge, it's going to have increased value. But if you're only actually having, half of those 5,000, maybe even less, completing the LaMelo, there's going to be a large additional supply of these from a majority of people who aren't involved in Top Shot that maybe are just going to want to flip it. So I think it's going to be a very volatile market, especially early on. But if that number is as high as Alan was alluding to, I don't think this is going to be as much of an issue as people are kind of, concerned. The concern that I've seen from the, Discord, Twitter, etc.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's news to me. So I like I said, someone mentioned it to me today. I've been away most of the day, and that's great news if that's the case. If there's going to be an oversupply of those, because that would not be a good thing if that's a bottleneck of like 500. That's
100%.
pointless. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I can say that you can see that they're continuing to try and find different creative ways, which Justin and I have talked about previously, that we like the fact that there's some randomness that comes in here with the different wrinkles that the Top Shot team can throw out there. I think it keeps people's on their toes and makes it so that this is not really a solvable game, because you don't necessarily know 100% of the rules ahead of time. And, to us, that makes it interesting. That makes it appealing to the masses. And it's something that we think is a key part of the product, as long as the NBA Top Shot team continues to handle things in the right way, which it seems like they are. They seem very focused on long-term growth and creating a sustainable ecosystem for years to come, versus trying to capitalize on quick short-term things now. And I think that's big. All right, so let's do a little game here, Justin and Wades. And what we're going to do, we're going to call this the over-under game. And I'm going to ask Justin a question that relates to the Cool Cats Challenge. Justin is going to give what his answer is. And then Wades, we're going to kick it over to you and have you discuss whether or not you think that it will come in over or under Justin's number and why. And then we have a brief discussion about it and move on to the next one. I think this will be a fun little exercise. So
that sounds good.
First question over to you, Mr. Justin Herzig. How many people do you think will complete the Cool Cats Challenge 1 for the Luka Doncic reward?
I've said this number from the beginning, and I still don't think it's too far off, so I'm going to stick with 3,500.
3,500. Okay, Wades, what are we thinking here? You think 3,500 is the right number? You think it's under that, over that?
I think it's just slightly under that. I have to disagree. Otherwise, it wouldn't be much of a show. Look, honestly, I initially said about 1,700. Then my next answer was about 35. So I tend to agree with Justin. I think it'd probably just come underneath that. But the way it's going, it's look. The other thing we've got to take into account is this news that the team put out today or yesterday, that they'll ban, basically not ban accounts, but the multiple accounts. So they just want everyone to consolidate. So I know myself, I've got 2 sets, so I'm going to sell one of them. I couldn't be bothered going through. I think that there's a month, what are they called, moratorium or whatever it's called. So where they'll let you off the hook, but I think that will not be enough to complete the Master Challenge, which is a smart thing to do. So they'll want everyone pulling back and following a line, which I think it's important for the game too. It's because they can't get a good read on the genuine members and all that sort of stuff, because we've got 6 accounts. So, but I think it'll just come under that 35, probably 34.99.
I think that's fair. I think we have seen some of the data that shows, and TJ, correct me if my memory is wrong, but I think it's 2,400 have completed the 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
You then have another 500 that are at 3 or 4 out of 5. So that puts us at 2,900 that we can have some level of confidence are going to complete it. Then if you include the people who have 2, there's around 500. So that brings us to that 3,400. And then it's kind of who knows from there. I do think we're going to see a strong price. I think there's going to be a substantial price drop near the very end of the challenge. As you can see in that blue line, those are all the people that only have 1. And I think a lot of them, some are just going to hold. They're not really paying that much attention. They're just going to whatever and lose out on that value, or maybe try to sell later on when you have the people need it for LaMelo. But overall, I think you're going to see those prices kind of drop near the end. So it'll give it a good opportunity.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how much it does drop, because obviously you're going to need these moments for the next, or for the Master Challenge. So it's an interesting market, this one.
Yep.
Agreed. We're going to continue tracking it, keep an eye on it. But yeah, what we have up on the screen here is just a breakdown of all the users, how many of them own 1 through 5 of the Cool Cats. What we've seen is that more and more people have been getting to that 5 of 5 number. As Justin said, 2,400 have secured the 5 of 5 today. I have personally tended to lean more towards you, Wade, in it being under 3,500. I've been saying around 3,000, which Justin thinks is light. So it'll be curious to see how that. I think somewhere in between there. Like I think it almost definitely gets to 3,000, and it'll land somewhere between that 3,000 and 3,500 number.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, Justin, what do you think that the Luka Doncic reward will be going for from a lowest ask perspective 2 days after the challenge completes? So after it's stabilized a bit, challenge is over, it's 2 days later, what do we think that the going rate for a Luka Doncic card is going to be on the marketplace?
Yeah, I think my answer obviously significantly differs once the Master Challenge was announced, and then once it was announced that it's going to be for LaMelo. Initially, I was saying 850, but I'm going to say 1050.
1050.
So 1,000, Justin?
Yes, $1,050.
Okay, I'm just having a look at the marketplace now just for season 1. There's not much else. See if I can.
He's got 3 moments that are in the same ballpark. I believe it's one series. Yeah.
Look, I'm thinking just a little bit more, probably between sort of 12 to 1,800. So somewhere in there. He's very special, so I look at anything sort of he touches turns to gold. So that's where I'm going. Probably somewhere in between those 2 numbers. I'd say about 1,500.
As an owner of 5 Cool Cats, I like hearing that. That's for sure.
There it is. Should I bring out? I got the Cool Cat over here. The hat.
Oh yeah. It's,
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right. We'll do one more that's related to the Cool Cats, and then one other one that we have here. So the next one is stepping into the next level beyond just the Cool Cats Challenge 1 and talking about the Master Cool Cats Challenge. Justin, how many people do we think will complete the challenge for LaMelo? That's a tougher one.
This is tough, especially because we don't know. They've hinted towards they're going to have multiple that may not be in packs. So the CryptoKitty version, and there may be others as well. So there's unknown variables here, but I'm going to say 1,500.
That's tough. I mean, yeah. So if Luka becomes, say, 3.5, I think we'll lose about 20% at each stage. So that becomes, it's tough. I'm going to say about 1,200. I'm hoping it's under 1,000, but I'd say about 1,200 to be on the safe side.
And I think to your point, as it looks like there's going to be fewer, well, then there's going to be more demand for people to get it. And now that number is going to increase. And so you kind of get that back and forth. But I think it's going to be a very valuable moment.
Yeah, look, if one of those moments in, say, round 3 is a LeBron James, just the common moment, what's that going to be worth? A couple grand just to get that. So that immediately throws everything out of whack. So I don't think they'd do that, but they might.
I agree. And I think, I think what we might see is they're going to continue to be young people. So Cool Cats, that kind of brand was like, hey, who are your young ones? So you bring in, LaMelo's the rookie. You've got Luka as still the kind of young gun in the league. So I don't think they're going to bring LeBron in, but will they bring someone like a Trey? Who knows?
That's a good point.
Do either of you guys have thoughts on? So we know for a fact the Master Cool Cats Challenge that will include all of the Cool Cats. They've also teased a potential secondary running challenge type thing that would involve the base set moments of these Cool Cats challenges. They have not confirmed one way or the other. So are you guys, as of now, I'm kind of planning to just hold my base moments as a result of that, just in case. But yeah, do you guys have any thoughts there? It seems silly to sell them. Right? Is that you guys on the same page there?
Yeah, look, I mean, personally, I don't sell much anyway, but it makes sense to hold it now. They may potentially do another Cool Cat, like a one-off. So if you hold X amount of base moments, you get that Cool Cat, and then you'll need that for down the track or whatever. So who knows? But you're safer off holding it than selling it because you're only going to have to buy it back at a higher price.
Right. And I mean, end of the day, if you're completing this, you're spending around $1,000 for those 5 at least. So it doesn't move the needle to try to flip those last ones for $10, $20, whatever it is.
Agreed. Yeah. Just wanted to get that message out to folks for those that maybe don't know about that second potential wrinkle. Don't want anyone to make a mistake by not that selling it is a mistake, but if you sell it without being aware that this may have potential implications, want to make sure everyone has that information. All right, let's do one last over-under question. This one is not related to the Cool Cats Challenge, but I think it's another hot topic. And so, Justin, what do you think the price is going to be for the next legendary pack that comes out? In the past, we have seen that they were $230. It seems very clear that the number is going to increase from there. But what do we think that we're looking at in terms of a legendary pack price?
I'm going to say 2,500
for one pack.
For one pack.
No, I don't think they'd do that. They wouldn't be. You got to cater to most of the audience. I don't think they'd go 10 times the price. I'd be surprised if they even increased it, to be honest. I think they have to try a different price point, but I'm probably thinking about $299. I don't think they'll go over 300. Yeah.
So here's my data points. So the first thing is we saw that they said there's going to be sticker shock on the new price.
Okay.
So that maybe kind of be like, I thought that was an expectation setting, so that when people see that it is a high number, you just don't have that complete, uproar. And then the second is, and I should have checked this, but it was one of the, I don't know if it was Roham or one of the kind of just, top guys was saying that he's gotten feedback from some of the kind of high spenders, and they were saying that it should be priced at 10,000. And he felt that that was too high. And I thought that was him now trying to be like, hey, let's, over set the expectation. So now when we come in under it, it'll be value. But he did talk about how we need to find something where it's not going to be people are buying this just to go flip it. We want this to be bought by people who are actually collectors, and we need a way to actually manage the supply versus demand. And so my thought was, I was trying to do a kind of rough estimated value of, if you say you're going to get 3 metallic, MGLEs, if you're going to get some of those commons and then the legendary. Now there's no LeBron in this. Some of the other best players are going to be rewards from challenges. So when we consider what is that price, I think if you say it's 2,500, your value is still probably going to be more than that. Maybe, the EV is something around 5,000. So it's still going to create that line out the door of people interest, but it's not going to be a just lottery. Hey, you've just won 10x.
Yeah. So that's all news to me. I did not know any of that. Like I said, I've been sort of out of this space a little bit for the last couple of days, just doing a couple of these podcasts and so forth. So that's all news to me. I don't like the fact they're going to price most people out. I absolutely hate it, but it's life. Given if that's a fact, I'd probably push my price probably closer to 700 now per pack. That's literally news to me. So that's interesting. I'm going to do a bit more reading and asking around that after this. But yeah, geez, that's going to be interesting, isn't it?
I was thinking 1,000, and I think that was the clean number. And then when I read those additional comments, is when I kind of bumped that up. So if it ended up being 1,000, I think it would be extremely high demand. I think it would be a attractive price point for the most part. When you do get higher than that, I think that's when, not only is it pricing people out, but it just creates an actual question of, hey, is this truly worth it?
Yeah, look, I agree. That's great points there. Obviously, that information I was not aware of. So, 10 grand, wow.
Yeah, I thought that was
it's easy for the early adapters to say all these stupid prices because they probably have that much and more sitting in their adapter accounts because you can't cash most of that out. So again, they're sort of playing to their own tune because they're trying to price everyone out of it. So I'm the opposite of that. I'm completely opposite of that. So I'd rather have everyone participate if possible, but you can't really do that because you destroy the economy. So it's somewhere in the middle.
And as someone who spent the first half of this pod trying to move 10,000 of Ether from a Coinbase to the Dapper Labs to then be able to make that purchase, not all of us have that just sitting in the Dapper Labs wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. I think that's definitely people talking through what is beneficial to them, but hopefully the Dapper Labs comes to a price point that makes sense and can involve some more of the, middling tier market folks, but definitely going to be excited times when we see those legendary packs. And that will do it for our game of over under. Justin, Wade's, love your guys' takes. We are going to have this on film so that we can check the receipts and see if you guys were right or wrong. I will have no skin in the game because I didn't give any takes, so I have no risk of being wrong. But you guys, your reputations are now on the line.
On the blockchain.
Yes, yeah. It's on the blockchain. Yep, exactly. It's here forever.
Sharp one here.
All right. I think we're nearing towards the end here, but we do still have a couple things that I think are important to cover. And understand this is a little bit longer of a podcast, but it's not often that we get to sit with such a special guest in Wade's here. So for those of you that are still listening, I'm sure you are very much enjoying everything that Wade's has to say. I know I certainly am. I found this very interesting. I do have a question that is a personal question from me. And earlier in this podcast, you mentioned, and the whole time throughout this podcast, you've mentioned Discord quite a few times. And I also did see that Pranksy, who's one of the OG NFT guys as well, was doing an Ask Me Anything on Twitter. And someone asked him, what's the best way to get deeply immersed in NFTs? And his response was Discord. And the quote that he even said was that the home of NFTs is basically Discord. Now, for me personally, I come from the daily fantasy sports industry where Discord it's a thing, but it's not like the core of the community and how they communicate. And
it's not valuable. It's not worth the time in the DFS because it's a lot of people just kind of spewing nonsense back and forth. So go for it.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to understand, I guess, is can you talk a little bit about the role that, and I know that you're a moderator in the Top Shot Discord. So what role has Discord played leading up to this point? And for users out there that are maybe not super familiar with or super comfortable with Discord, how can we get value out of the Top Shot specific Discord? And how do we separate the noise and the nonsense that goes on there from the really, really valuable information? Because there is really valuable information, but there's also a lot of noise. So I'd be curious your perspective on this.
That's interesting. So in the early days, like think of it like some high-end gala dinner, and me being the moderator, just going around going, "You enjoying your drink, sir?" That's basically what I had to do, as a moderator. Whereas now it's a fucking mosh pit, and I'm just going tasing people left, right, and center. That's basically what it is now. Just kicking people out just for being there. So look, there is limited value right now. I shouldn't say that. I'll probably get fired. It's tough, man. It really disintegrated. So like I've started my own Discord just to give some of the more mature audience a safer space to play in and mingle and all that. But coming back to your question, it is the source of all of our NFT lives. Essentially, that's where we all get together. It really is. There is no other avenue for us. I mean, Facebook is not an option. I can't think of too much else that we use to communicate other than Discord. So it's quite handy for the DMs, for the multimedia, for whatever else you need to really convey your message on and through. You just need to know where to go and what people. So it really, like in this space, it pays off to mingle and to network because you'll get invited to things, you'll get better deals, you'll get. It's no different to real life, really. You just got to put yourself out there. So for me, myself, when I started off in the beta group or the alpha group, I just put myself out there and offered my whatever the services to tell these guys, because most of them didn't know, Sean Bradley from Michael Jordan. So it's so I offered that to them, and I had quite a few DMs straight away from some of the guys that the biggest players in the space. And I've grown to be friends with those guys, and we do things together, and so that takes effort, that takes time, but there is no other avenue to really do it other than Discord. So it's really, really valuable. If you do anything, get into Discord, get into smaller groups. The NBA Top Shot Discord is just nuts at the moment. We're trying our best to try and keep people in check. The team's expanded, tenfold on the moderator and the captain side and all that sort of stuff, but it really is difficult. You've got so much demand for a product, and then when that supply doesn't meet the demand or whatever, everyone just goes crazy and acts childish, and our job's to try and keep the community together. In part, we've built the product through having a very, very strong community early on, because what you see now as an end product or close to end product is a lot of feedback from, maybe a couple hundred people. So, and obviously DAP aside, that's their job. But, we had a feedback channel that was filled with, hundreds of pages worth of feedback just from us. So, get
without a doubt, you all are doing a thankless job. And this is not for any kind of high salaries or even payments or things like that, but just kind of for to further the community. So we are all thankful. I know that is a tough herding cats situation.
I do enjoy the tasing people from time to time.
We all get sound fun. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, thank you for that insight. I think it's super helpful to understand. So for all the people out there, if you are not a member of the Top Shot Discord, definitely go and check it out. Check out Wade's Discord that he has as well. And we've got folks within our team that are constantly looking at the Discord. We're trying to find the bits of information.
Do you guys have your own? Sorry to cut you off. Do you guys have your own Discord?
We do not. Maybe at some time in the future, we probably should set one up.
Absolutely. You need to set it up, because you'll get a lot of value out of that too.
Okay. We will. Producer Coop on the backlog. Shout out to Producer Coop behind the scenes. And we actually have a question from Producer Coop. And I think that this is a pretty fun question. So I'm going to put a broad scope here, but then ask Coop's specific question, because what I really want to understand, Wades, is where does Top Shot go from here next? What do we see happening in the next couple of weeks, the remainder of this NBA season, next season, 5 years, 10 years? Where do you see this thing going? And specifically from Producer Coop, when will we see our first commercial for NBA Top Shots during an NBA game? Or will we?
Jesus, there's about 8 questions in that. I'll start with the commercial first. I'd say maybe beginning of the playoffs. Now, this is just a guess. I have no insight into any of this. I can probably find out, and they'll probably say, mind your own business. But I'd say it makes some sense to do something maybe in the playoffs, at the beginning of the playoffs, because you've got more eyeballs on the TV screens, and we'll have hopefully a product that's out of beta by then, or the team will. I'm not an employee of Dapper Lab, so. But in terms of where I see it next week, couple of weeks, well, hopefully we'll have the legendary drop, and we'll find out the pricing around that, and I think that'll cement more so now the pricing going forward. Months and years. By the end of the season, I think we'll probably double the player base. I think I'm being conservative there. So from about 40,000, I don't know what the player base is. I know how many people on Discord at the moment. It's about 40,000 odd. Wow. Let's just say it's the same in terms of one-for-one player base. So we'll probably double that. In terms of the values, I see the values going up slightly. I see them actually increasing quite a bit, but I'm just trying to be conservative. I don't want people just to jump on this and go, well, I don't know how much pull I've got, probably none, but I've said some things and I've seen some things happen in the marketplace. I'm going, oh, well, that probably should have kept my mouth shut on that one. It's cost me a few bucks. But yeah, look, in sort of longevity of it, I think it's a project that will keep going for a very, very, very long time. It just makes sense. You guys see it. Literally, I talk about this social proof where I observe the players that are coming into the space and keep talking about it, and everyone sort of loves it. The only issue they have is with the platform and breaking down because they can't buy the stuff. So, what other product can you see that's out there that people just want to sort of run and give you the money just to buy a pack of it? So, or yeah, so I think it's got a long future ahead of itself. But the team's just got to make sure the platform performs.
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to think who said it on Twitter, but there was a great tweet last night. It was actually one of our friends, Davis Maddock, and he goes, "Top Shot is dead," says the man refreshing Top Shots or packs 5 times in the last 3 hours.
Yeah, that's right. Look, people, their opinions change with these drops. So I come fortunately from a bit of history, and I've got moments there to just sit and just enjoy the space now, and that's what I do. I probably don't participate as much in the marketplace anymore, but I couldn't imagine the frustration that people that are coming to this space that are going through when they're just trying to get a pack, just one pack. I mean, yeah, I do feel their pain. I honestly do. So hopefully one of those people can win the Luka that I'm giving away.
That's a great transition.
Yes, indeed. And definitely agree with your thoughts there on the marketplace. I think that as long as we can get some of these technical issues out and get that more positive experience for the new users, we will continue this growth. And with that, let's transition into the main event of this podcast, because we have a Luka Doncic Series 1 moment to give away. But first things first, I mean, we have to ask about the Gary V thing, right? So as a part of this giveaway, one of the requirements was to tag Gary V in the tweet. So we want to know, what was your motivation here? How many different methods have you tried to reach out to Gary V? I thought that was a fun little wrinkle to this giveaway.
Have you tried LinkedIn? Have you tried Friendster? Have you ordered him an Uber? Have you gotten him a Drizzly delivery? Look,
it goes back in time, quite a long time ago. I mentioned in the other podcast I did a couple of nights ago that I reached out to him through Twitter. We were given directive from Dapper not to put anything out in the ether in terms of the project, anything, because it was closed beta, so they wanted to fly under the radar. But I did tweet him out a couple of times, and I think I tweeted out because he was peddling one of the rookie cards or something on Twitter, or I don't know whatever he usually does. So I tweeted out to him a Cosmic Devin Booker, and he never came back. Obviously, he's a pretty busy man. I enjoy annoying him, to be honest. I don't know if he sees any of it, but I believe, my belief is that he's already in the game. He's probably bought a whole bunch of stuff. He just doesn't want to, give away his hand yet. So yeah, but I just enjoy annoying him, to be honest. That's about it.
I can see that. I do know that there are some people who are heavily involved in Top Shot that are friends and acquaintances of his. So yeah. I'm sure he's at least aware and have had conversations about it. Of course
he's aware. Yeah, he's been aware of it for a long time. So he was actually on one of the on the Apple or whatever they call it, the Clubhouse with the bros.
Oh, he was?
Not long ago. Yeah.
There you go.
So
Producer Coop behind the scenes has a suggestion. You can sign him up on Wine Text and send him a message anytime you want. So there you go. An extra creative way for us to get Gary V's attention. All right. Enough of the chit chat. Enough of the strategy talk. The people want a Luka Doncic, and so we are going to give it away on this podcast. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you will see that as I'm pulling up on my screen, we have wheelofnames.com. All the folks here are the people that followed the rules, quote tweeted our tweet about the interview with Wades, tagged us, tagged Wades, tagged Gary V, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you all for participating, and best of luck as we will find out who wins the very special Luka Doncic moment. And I am going to go ahead and click here.
Make it happen. This is
$650 thing. Here we go.
Yep, $650 is the cheapest in the marketplace. So very generous by Wades, and a great addition to the anyone's collection.
Absolutely, very, very generous, Wades. We really do appreciate it. So,
anytime.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, spin that wheel. Oh baby, Here we go.
Let's see. You're going to have to let
Here
us
we
know it's so
go.
small.
Oh, and we've got a winner.
Bonafide legit. There you go.
Bonafide
Good guy
legit.
Gary was so close. I thought good guy Gary was going to get it. Oh.
All righty.
Well
we
done.
have ourselves a winner here. Bonafide legit. I am going to grab a screenshot of this. We will announce it on our Twitter. And Bonafide legit, we will be in touch. Congratulations to you. You have won the Series 1 Luka Doncic moment, courtesy of Wade's. Wade, once again, we thank you very, very much. Super generous. I mean, it's one thing to give away a common pack or to give away, a very basic moment, but this is, it could be a game changer for people. Very, very generous.
I'm trying to push some of the other OGs to start giving some of their stuff away. So
I love that. I mean, I think it's in everyone's best interest, right? To get people more involved, get people engaged. I think it's awesome and a great thing for you to do. I know that we're looking into running some types of contests going forward that will result in a giveaway.
When we get our 1 millionth subscriber, maybe we'll consider getting rid of that Devin Booker Cosmic, but we'll have to wait until then for that one.
There we go. We're almost there. All righty, guys. Well, that is everything that I had on the agenda for today. I think this was a great conversation. I'll kick it to each of you one last time. We'll start with you, Justin. Any final words? Where can the people find you? And what was your how did you enjoy this conversation with Wade today?
This was fantastic. Exceeded my expectations. Wade, thanks so much for spending the time. We know this is late night for you in Australia. You got the beginning of a weekend, so enjoy that. I look forward to continuing to just stay in touch, learning from you, and so appreciative for you to come on. And hey, who knows? Maybe in a couple months or a year or something, we'll have you come back and we'll see what the learnings have been.
Absolutely. Wade's any final words here? Where can the people find you? Anything that you want to plug? I know you're doing a lot of awesome stuff out there on Twitter, on your YouTube channel. You have your own Discord. Please use this opportunity to let people know where they can find you and just wrap up any final thoughts you have.
Yeah, look, first and foremost, thanks guys for having me on. Much appreciated. Again, it's all surreal to most of us, I'd say. The price appreciation, the membership count, everything has just gone through the roof, and why not? The product is awesome. You guys are awesome, so keep doing a good job. Like, it's very polished what you guys are doing here, so that's keep it up. So what else? Look, don't sleep on Top Shot. If this is the first time you heard about it, get in there, get amongst it, get on Discord, get to know the people, buy a couple of things, figure out how it works, listen to a couple of different podcasts, start with this one or more of these, and just get in there. It's an awesome space to be in, especially this NFT community. There's a lot of people that give valuable time and everything else so they can, and just get amongst it. You can find me on Twitter. It's just, what is it? Wades_ETH. And Discord. Yeah, I'm around in the NBA Discord. You'll be able to see me as one of the moderators there. And say hello. At the moment, I'm not escrowing any deals just because there's just too many issues that we had a couple of people impersonate my account, which is why I stopped doing it completely. Because the thought is, if I stop doing it, no one can impersonate, because everyone knows I'm not doing it anymore. But I still get hit up all the time. So apologies for that. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but I'm just trying to protect the community. So that's that.
We appreciate that. We appreciate the nice words. I will say we're more like a duck swimming on the water. So up top it may look a little polished, but underneath we've got producer Coop just flapping around. So thank you, producer Coop, for all you do and making this, faking it till you make it.
No, well done, guys. It's pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've just been figuring this out as we go over the past week and a half here. Wades, thank you so much. This was an amazing conversation. I think the people are going to love it. You dropped so much knowledge. It's very interesting to get inside the brain of somebody who has been in this space since the very beginning. So we appreciate that, and we would love to have you back on a future podcast. I'm sure we'll be in touch on Twitter, in the Discord, all of that good stuff. So with that said, everybody, please go ahead, give us a follow on Twitter at OwnTheMomentNFT. You can follow me on Twitter at TJL5124DFS. Give Justin a follow. Give Wade's a follow, as he said, at Wades_ETH. Join his Discord. Check out his YouTube videos. Show the man some love for all of the fantastic knowledge that this guy has. And I'm dead serious there. I mean, he knows so much that we could never even have the context on with how long he's been in this space. So really appreciate everything that you're doing for the community. Round of applause to Wade's. And with that, let's wrap up this show. So for Justin, for producer Coop behind the scenes, for our very special guest at Wades_ETH, this was the Own the Moment podcast, and we will catch you guys next time.
See you guys. Have a good one.